give credit to Philadelphia. I think they did play well, and I think the young quarterback Jalen Hurts did play well, and I think their defense came up with some stops. But it took us until the second half where we finally got at least a sense of urgency. And look, it wasn't enough, and that's on me. And I told them after the game, I said, look, we can lose this one game, and it counts as one loss. But if we don't learn from just a handful of the mistakes made in this game, then it'll hurt us in a bigger game, a game that's not even scheduled yet.
And we were talking just with Stacey about how important it is for the Packers to hold that number 1 seed now that the Saints don't have it anymore, and now that they get the Chiefs. What is Sean Payton saying about how badly they need to get that number 1 back?
Yeah, first off, Andrew, I hate that my co-host Jim Trotter can't get on because of technical difficulties. But to get to your question, Sean Payton says the number 1 seed, yes, it's nice to get everybody rested and healthy, but he thinks this year it's not nearly as important as it typically is because of no fans in the stadium, right? Stacey was talking about the climate issues in Lambeau Field and Green Bay using the cold weather to their advantage, but Sean basically said otherwise, everything is kind of even. You're noticing home and away stadiums, again, because of lack of fans or no fans, there really doesn't seem to be that type of edge, and the data kind of shows the home field advantage really doesn't exist this season like it did previously. So yes, if they get the home field, that's great, but if they don't, it's not nearly as big of an issue as it might be in normal years.
He also opened up, Sean Payton did, about Drew Brees a little bit. Everyone's kind of circled this game for Brees' return. What'd Payton say?
He said it's too early to tell. He said he needed to talk to the doctors and talk to Drew. He said last week Drew still had, to use Sean's word, significant pain, and therefore he wanted to see where he's at in this process. So obviously this week would be a game that they would target, but until they get clearance from Drew and the doctors, we just don't know at this point.
Steve, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, Sean said even Drew is targeting this. Like, this is something he wanted to get through. So, but again, if the pain is there, if Drew Brees can't come out and play, remember he had multiple fractured ribs. There's a breathing issue. There's a pain tolerance issue. There's a contact issue. They're going to have to roll with Taysom Hill. And so Taysom Hill is going to have to be better than he was last week. It's also going to be kind of a guessing game. I would assume Sean Payton and the Saints to play this out all week. So Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs have to try to plan for 2 completely different style quarterbacks before they make the announcement. You know how this coaching kind of hide and seek goes.
Remember that word significant, like Andrew. Significant. That's the word that stuck out to me that Sean used.
Yeah. What also stuck out here, guys, and Jim, I think this one's going to get picked up a lot of places here, kind of a headline. When you guys asked Sean Payton about Drew Brees' eventual successor, Jim, what did he say about that?
He said he believes the successor is in the building now, and that means either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. And look, what he said about Taysom at this point is that he's an ascending player, but there's still development that has to take place. He said, number one, when you have a quarterback who can rely on his running skills, he tends to hold the ball a little longer in the pocket. It doesn't come out as quickly. And Sean said that Taysom needs to process quicker. So that's something that he's got to work on there. But when we specifically ask him about Jameis Winston and the narrative that maybe Jameis isn't ready to run this offense yet, and that's why Sean went the direction he did, he said that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, he said Jameis definitely can be a starter, and once Drew leaves, Jameis will get an opportunity to be a starter, as will Taysom Hill. We have to remember here, Jameis is on a 1-year deal, so he would have to sign another contract with the Saints. But it sounds like they don't want to let him out of the building.
And I tell you this, Andrew, we didn't bring it up. Sean did. He made it sound like this is definitely going to be Drew Brees' last season.